I'm an addict, mother of an autistic child. And so my son, who's 7 years old, is autistic. And for Christmas, he asks me for a briefcase. And I think that's so funny. And I should laugh because it's so autistic-y. But he asked me for this briefcase, but it totally shows me like he loves how it's neat. He loves how it's soft, how it closes and it's quiet. And there's all these little pockets inside that hold everything. And he loves that there's a combination. So my son is asking me for his Christmas gift. And he's like, "Oh, Mom, I want a briefcase." And he's like, "And I want one with a code." And so I'm like, okay. I don't think the school is going to like this one. And so anyways, I actually found him one and we'll see what the school says. But I got him this briefcase and he just loves carrying that thing around, like putting all his things in it. And since he's autistic, he, like the form that I know with him, my autistic son, is he loves the order of things. Like when I first started noticing signs in the beginning, he was lining stuff up all the time. He was color organizing. Things had to be a certain way. You know, it was oddly neat and upset when things were not neat. And so he's still like that. And I now adapt to that, but he's the kind of kid where like, it took him a while to learn to wash his hands, but like, then when he gets something and he gets fixated on it, then he doesn't like to change that. So like now it's like, if he goes in and washes his hands, like even if, and he is like a procedure man, like I go in and wash my hands and he goes in, he puts the water on. He waits for the warm water. He literally takes like 5-10 seconds to wash his hand. He does all the way around, all the way through, all the way around. And he uses like 5 pumps of soap because he likes the feeling of the soap on his hands. So he has like a whole massage bath for his hands. And that takes a while, like when you're just trying to run in the house and go for a quick pee and get on with it. And there's other kids in the family. So my son is, but like, there's no way that he'll break that routine now. Like he's now fixated on, like, that's how he's going to wash his hands till he dies. Like till he's an old man. I think that's the way that it's going to be. And even times when I've rushed him, like he doesn't get out. He does the whole thing every single time. So in some ways, I think that's kind of cool about autism and the way that he is. And as a busy mom, that's very annoying for me. But that's just the way it is now. So the orderly stuff is I'm just learning so much more about it. Like even when I'm like, okay, it's time to get off the tablet. Like he has to go all the way out of every single setting that he went all the way into to go back out to hand the tablet back in the way that I gave it to him, like it completely closed off, saved, shut properly, and then off. So I can't just like take it away. Even if I give warnings, I can't even just take it away as is or where it is. He has to give it back to me in a certain way that feels good to him. So my son is, very sensitive to like feelings, like the way that things feel physically. So like he wears track pants with a collar shirt. It's like smooth on smooth. He wears really fluffy earmuffs and he has really fluffy gloves. And you know what? The cool thing is that he doesn't even care how that looks. Like he doesn't even notice that looks funny. But he loves being in smooth things and like he doesn't care. Like he's happy to have that. And so in a way, I think that's really cool, but it's also very dangerous for that social aspect because I find when he's in situations where he's trying to be cool and he's trying to fit in with other kids, he is really aggressive and he says the most roughest, awful things. And what it does is I think he's trying to get attention, but it brings on so much negative attention because he gets a bit made fun of, and because people laugh at the dramatics of it all, because he's very extreme. So he'll say like, I'm going to punch you in the face, or like, or like he goes to like, it's like, no, you can just say, I'm going to get ya. Like, like he goes to like extreme with his, when he's talking, and he always gets like big reactions from people because he says the most outlandish stuff. And so he doesn't like see that social dynamic. He doesn't see that they're kind of laughing at him or the thing. Like, I see sometimes it's at him and sometimes it's at the thing, but he thinks it's okay to act that way. He doesn't understand that it's not really okay to act that way and say those things. And so he gets himself in a little bit of trouble that way. And as a mother, it makes me very nervous for him. So yeah, my son, when I first got his designation, I think I went to my doctor, and she referred me to a pediatrician who said you have to have enough things for me to want to send you for testing. This was the pediatrician. And so he checked off the list, and then, cause he also wasn't talking either yet. And, so he had all the checks on the boxes. We get on the waiting list, takes a year. I think it's about 2 years now. And we wait, and then we get his designation, and we get all hooked up with autism funding. And then we start like figuring out people that we're going to go with for intervention services. And so he has been in services, intervention, 3 times a week, I think, for the first year or so. And then we went to a different company, and we went down to 2 a week. But that company was a bit more quality over quantity. And that is what happened. And I'm glad I switched. So just because you start with one company doesn't mean you have to stay with them. And I needed more for my kid. I'm his advocate. I'm the one looking out for him. And I needed better. And then I went for that. So the 2 a week did actually work. I didn't think it would, but it did. So we get that designation, and because there's autism funding, so you get all that free, like, it's not like, it doesn't come out of my pocket. It's not free. It just doesn't come out of my pocket. And I don't know where we would be if we didn't have that. Like, there's no way I would pay for all that. And like, as a single mom at the time, like, well, I'm still a single mom, but as a single mom, it was like, he would have not had anything. And it was crazy before we got intervention. Like, I didn't know what was happening. Like, he just freaked out about everything. He was just difficult all the time. Like, I was like, it was hard all the time. I didn't know why. I was like, is this because I'm alone, or like what? And like, and then getting into the services, learning, I had to like basically learn how to parent an autistic child, learn how to parent differently. And like, it was like, just to get out of the car, he would create rituals in that moment. I noticed that it was so hard to get out of the car because he was always stopping. Like, he had to like fix something on his shoe, and then he had to like fix something on his coat, and then he had to like put something here. And it was like, why are we not just getting out of the car? Like, that was like, I've already said the instruction. Now I've said it like 3 times, and you're still not. And so, that was one of the things that I was just like really wondering with, is my child autistic or not? And it was just so difficult before I had that help. So that was one of the signs. One of the other signs before I got his designation was he was like, I never thought my kid liked me because I could never tell what was like going on with him. I would go to work, and I would come back home to my parents' house, and they were there, and my son would just like look at me like I was the most uninteresting guest he'd ever seen. And I remember just thinking like, hello, like, don't you see I'm here? Like, I'm your mother. And like, he would just like not even like, he wouldn't even like smirk or smile. It was like I wasn't even there. And then my other son, who is, I think, neurotypical, every time I came home from work, he would run to me with joy, like I was like famous and a superstar. And then I'd be like, wow, that's so nice. Like, I've never experienced that before. Like the engagement. And so I'm like, okay, this seems different. And so I kind of did think my kid didn't like me for a long time. And I thought, how does a new person who's only a few years old or 3 years old not already know not to like somebody? And so I'm like, I'm watching this happen. And it was just like, he has this gaze where he just looks past me, looks beyond me. And it shows up in all his photos. Like, there's just this distance there. And I don't like, and when he does try to smile, like he tries to smile in photos now, like I try to get him to, and it's like he just can't. Like he just like doesn't smile naturally. It doesn't come from the inside out. It's almost like he puts on like what he thinks a smile should look like. And it's like he looks more confused when he's smiling, and he looks a little bit upset, like mad at the situation. But it's usually just like that mixed with a lot of blankness. So, and the blankness isn't that he's not smart. Like, he's very smart. Like, I was buying him Lego all the time, and I had to stop because it was like getting too expensive. And I know I can go through my autism funding, but I'd buy Lego, and then he would just like complete the Lego like in 2 hours and like just be done the whole thing. And I'm like, well, this is kind of an expensive hobby. So, but he can just like, because he likes the Lego in the building and he likes the repetition of it, like just to like build, go, and he can just blow through Lego like in a few hours, and then there's nothing else to do now. So, in that sense, he is just like, he's got a mind for building things and staying focused and thinking outside of the box. And, but like I met with lots of that rigidity, like he doesn't like changing. He doesn't like having a bath. He doesn't like, there's lots of little things like, I don't know. It just, when he gets stuck on stuff, it's like really hard to get him off of stuff. So he's, you don't see my son and think he's autistic. Like, lots of people have said, like, what do you mean he's autistic? He doesn't look autistic. But it's like, well, he's never going to look autistic. Like, he looks like a normal neurotypical child, but he flaps his, he moves around a lot in the kid line. He's often like stimming and making robot gestures, and he's always moving and stuff. But he would have been a lot worse if we didn't have intervention. Like, I don't even know where we would be. But because he has that intervention, he has the ability to like be a part of classes. He can do things on his own for periods of time, not all the time. Like, he has one-on-one help with him that goes with him in classes. But he, it's taken a whole team of people, and including myself, to be around my son to help him with his development. And because he is a child that doesn't want to do things, and he only wants to do what he wants to do. And he doesn't connect well. He doesn't, his emotions are extreme. Like, he feels deeply. He feels like when he's sad, he's really sad, and when he's mad, he's really mad. When he's really excited, he's super excited. Like, he's often goofing off in class because he likes making funny faces and being a jokester, but he gets in trouble because he basically stirs up the whole lineup. So he's a hard kid to control because he's disruptive to the other kids as well. So he's a lot to handle, but it is getting handled. And he, his strengths is like, he's academically, like now he's just like, he's like top reader of his class, like he loves the order of that and the reading, and that's really cool too. So I got him like a massive Minecraft encyclopedia book that he can just like have a heyday with. So my son is, he's autistic, and it's a challenge. And by having another child right behind him, for a while there, it felt like I had two autistic children, because my second son, he's 6 now, he copied everything that my autistic son did. So there was a lot of like learned behaviors that happened in the process that made everything amplified. Like my son, who's autistic, it feels like there's two of him in one body with how much work that goes into it. Like it's just like extra paperwork, extra meetings, extra appointments. And then, so there's like him and all the autism stuff. So it's like a whole separate extra thing compared to just like my one other son who just has what one child needs. And then with the autism, it's like the child and all the autism stuff. So it's like a boatload of things going on there. He is learning, like he's also like borderline speech impairment. Like he doesn't say words properly. And so he's got like these barriers, but with having like that team effort around him, like totally makes a difference. And learning how to like redirect his energy, redirect his excitement, like acknowledging those big feelings that he has, because it's like, he doesn't want to be out of control either. Like a lot of this is just helping my son get back into control of himself, because everything is just like, it's like so up and down for him, right? Like when he's really happy, he's like bouncing off the walls. Like it's really hard to bring him down to like a more chill vibe than like really extreme. So oftentimes it's just like really trying to get to that middle all the time. But yeah, in one of the early days, he used to make this like noise for everything. And it's just like, I never thought my kid was ever going to lose that. And it was like one of those signs that I noticed as well, that something was different, was just like, when he was upset, he would just be like, he would sound like those old alarm clocks and just be like, for everything. And he doesn't do that today. Like he used to do that to get what he wanted, or if he didn't get what he wanted. So it was like very embarrassing to be out in public when he would do that. And because it bothers people. They don't want to hear that, right? And so it's like, as a mom that, people he's very misunderstood. We are misunderstood most of the time where we go, and the not like saying hi back, like it's still a thing. Like he just doesn't have a lot of interest in that social immediate connection. Like he does make connection with me sometimes and his siblings, but oftentimes he doesn't care for it. So I need to like bring it out in him. But these are just some of like the autistic traits that I have been living with him, and what they look like and what they're about, and how good intervention was that he has. And he doesn't look autistic. Like I can see him and pick it out, but it's not often in your face, and it is manageable. It's just not curable. Like it's manageable. And we're curbing his behavior. We're giving him tools. We're teaching him things, and he gets a chance at having a better life and being able to handle a bit better in this world. But it's a challenge, and it's demanding. Like he's my kid in my house that he takes up a lot of energy and time compared to my other kids. And I have 3 other kids. And he's probably the most out of all that. Like when I don't have him in the house for something, it's a different experience. It's it's just really different. So having to have a tough skin, because my kid can be quite embarrassing in places, and not all the time can I make the situation good or right or comfortable or not embarrassing. It's just, sometimes it's just embarrassing, and we work at it together. So that's just a bit more on like autistic traits and having a son on the spectrum and what that looks like. So thank you guys for listening. Bye.